Okay, let's get this checked out. Okay. Hold on a second. Gotta let my peeps know that I'm live. All right, so if you are here, let me know. Say hello. Happy Saturday, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late for my Saturday night sprints. I just got back from being out with my mom and my sister because the last several Saturdays have basically been where I get to go hang out with them since I'm usually home during the week. So it was really nice to be able to see my mom and my sister. But I'm ready for sprints. I am so ready for sprints. I'm ready to get some reading done. I have a rest of my coffee that I got from earlier. It's definitely not something I should have got at like 7 o'clock in the evening, but I did. Hello, Rochelle. Welcome. Welcome to Sprints. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so I'm going to quickly run down for you guys how this works for anybody that's new. Just because I know some people tend to find me randomly and you don't know how I do sprints. Some people have been here for a while, so I don't know, who all exactly knows what the heck is going on during my sprints. So if any of you are familiar with the booktuber Becca and the Books, she does a monthly TBR usually involving a game of Becca's Bookopoly, which is a play on the game Monopoly. And she has a readathon that is also dedicated surrounding around that and does what are called dice sprints, where basically taking 2 6-sided die, she rolls them, and each tick on those dice basically equate to 5 minutes. And that is, going to equate to how long their sprint's going to be. So for instance, if she rolled 2 3s, that would be a total of 6, and then 6 times 5 would be 30-minute sprints because they're in like 5-minute increments. I do something similar, except instead of using 2 6-sided die, I use 1d12. So basically the principle is the same. Whatever number I land on, we multiply that by 5 for 5-minute sprints, and that's how we do them. It goes basically all the way from a 1, which is 5 minutes, all the way up to 12, which is an hour. Now, typically, I do not do anything starting off less than 5 minutes because I feel like 5 minutes does not really give anybody a lot of time to get through a lot of pages. I think it's a little too short. So I never will allow us to have anything that rolls us a 1. But I also do not have us do anything more than 50 minutes for our first sprint. So, or actually, no, I don't have us do more than 30 minutes for our first sprint. So for the first sprint, definitely nothing lower than 5, nothing higher than 30. And then after that, it only becomes nothing lower than 5 minutes. So if you guys have any questions about how that goes on, continue, just ask me questions. Make sure that, you let me know if something seems confusing. Best way to describe it though, roll the dice, see what you end up getting, multiply it by 5. That's how long our sprint is. Hello, Mia. Welcome to the sprint. Glad you could join us today. So with the rundown done for anybody that is new, if at any point somebody new comes in and you're confused as to how we're doing the sprints, just feel free to let me know because I'm more than willing to go through it again. I just know that there's some people who know kind of how this works, some people that don't. So I just want to make sure that, for those of you that are new, you know how things are going. So hope everybody's been doing super well. Like I said, today I was out with my mom and my sister for the later part of the afternoon going into the evening. I actually got this beautiful ring today from the Pandora store near me. I absolutely love this. It's so cute. This the way that this is set, it looks like a little crown, but it's so pretty. My mom actually bought this for me today, and just because she likes to do that sometimes where like, for random reasons, she likes to buy us little things that we think are pretty. And so she got me this today, which I thought was really sweet. So, because I had my eye on this and I really wanted it. So it was super, super pretty. And it is actually something I'm going to be wearing a lot because I've been looking for a ring to basically replace one that I had worn for a very, very long time. If you've been a part of my channel for a while, you might know what one I'm talking about. It is one that I had on this finger for the longest time. And it was my grandmother's ring, but it unfortunately, my fingers got too big for it. So I had to stop wearing it. And so this is kind of a ring to kind of replace that in a sense for me, because it was something that was very important to me. I still have that ring. I just, I'm not wearing it because my fingers have got too big for them. But very, very happy with this. It's kind of got like a pink, sometimes in some lights, it kind of looks purple gem. Like it almost kind of like leans towards an amethyst of some kind, but it's all kind of rose goldy. Like it's not a pure gold band. And then it's got little gems on the sides of the big piece of it. So, okay, I gotta figure out where my stuff is because I had to move some stuff in here. So give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay, I found my books. So, first of all, working through The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. I am a little behind on my reading schedule with this. I'm honestly behind my reading schedule in general. Perfect time, Mia. I'm just about to go into that. I am reading tonight, and that is because I'm very behind on my reading schedule so far for this month. So I think what I'm going to do is get through this other one first. So I'm working on They Went and Left by Monica Hess. This is a book that I'm reading for my Wheel of D20 challenge for this month. If you don't know what that is, please go check out my my March TBR video because that has like the Wheel of D20 stuff. But this is for that. And I would like to, at some point tonight, I don't know if it's going to happen, but at some point tonight, I'd like to be able to get through The Great Hunt because I am quite behind on my reading schedule for this. But I think that no matter what, because tomorrow I'm not really doing anything, I could probably get to my goal for this for tomorrow and then actually be able to finish this. So, yeah, I don't have a bookmark for this exactly. I had to use one of my mild liners earlier because my bookmarks are all upstairs and I didn't go upstairs today. So, yeah, but I'm going to basically be working on They Went and Left for the first while of this. I'm currently on page 86 of this and I'm really liking it so far. It is very heartbreaking though. It's one of those stories where it's placed during, well, actually after the events of World War II. If you don't know anything about it, They Went and Left basically is following a young woman who is basically searching for her brother after they have both been released from the concentration camps in Poland. They specifically kind of like went their separate ways though, where like she and her brother were separated at one point where they went to both different camps. I think the main character was somewhere still in Poland, but it's just been revealed here that it's very likely that her brother was sent off to somewhere in Germany. But basically the story is her trying to find her brother, who is right now the only living relative of hers left. All of her family basically were killed after being amassed initially. And I don't think this is something that is indicative to just this story, but I feel like in a lot of Holocaust-based stories, there's this idea that there were basically two paths when it came to sorting out the Jewish people. And it breaks my heart to even talk about it because it honestly, like, it really like hit me hard reading this. But basically she talks about in like one of the first few chapters about like talking about the way that she and her parents were separated was basically that all of her family except her and her brother went and left, which the title of the story basically indicating that all of her family were sent off to die through various means. We don't know exactly like how they were killed, if it was one of the various ways of torture or genocide, but basically her family was sent left. she and her brother were sent right, and then eventually she and her brother were separated. And obviously, it's a very, very hard story to read because even though it is fictionalized, it is still one of those parts of history that is so hard for me to read because I think in a lot of ways, it's hitting a little closer to home in the sense where, like, it's very ironic in some ways that I'm reading it currently with the state of the world and how things are going. Especially, too, it's very ironic because the main character was saved by a Russian soldier, which is very strange to me because, like, and please know, I understand that it's not all the Russian people that are, like, wanting this war in the first place between Ukraine and Russia, but it's just very, very ironic to read about a Russian soldier that has saved a Polish Jewish young woman. So it's very strange. It's very heartbreaking because, like, to place oneself in the shoes of a character that you read because you want to be empathetic and you want to understand kind of the way that the story's going. With stories like this, it's really hard. I don't know why I'm ranting about this exactly, but it is, like, I've been thinking about this, like, all day because I read, like, the first 85 pages of this morning. And it was very, very heartbreaking, but I genuinely, like, still feel propelled to read this. Like, it's so heartbreaking to read about, but you so badly want to see that this fictionalized story of a real event in a real time period, like, you want this character to end up winning. Like, you want to have some happiness about somebody in this unfortunate, very deadly time to have some kind of happy ending, despite the negative kind of world. So, yeah, that's what I'm reading. Having fun with that. And then, like I said, I'm working on The Great Hunt. This is book 2 of the Wheel of Time series. So far, enjoying this. This one, I'm on page 114. I read the first, like, 6 chapters and the prologue. Really, really liking this. I think that this at beginning is a little bit more explosive than the Eye of the World was. Because the Eye of the World really sets up a lot with the world of the Wheel of Time. This one is basically, we start off where there are the Aes Sedai coming in, and there's not really a reason as to why, but there's a character that you meet here that you learn a lot about in the prequel story, New Spring. And I was very happy to see this character get brought up because I did not know where she was in terms of after New Spring, because New Spring is the first and only prequel that we have. But initially, Robert Jordan was supposed to write a trilogy within the prequel series, if that makes sense. But we never got that because, unfortunately, he passed away and it was never continued. So this is the first time that I'm seeing, though, this particular character from New Spring in the Wheel of Time series itself. And she's very, the character feels the exact same, even though that this story is supposed to take place 20 years after the prequel. Really enjoying it so far. Actually very excited to see what goes on in this, because I have a very distinct feeling it's going to get very political, and there's going to be a lot of issues surrounding around that here pretty soon. So pretty excited for that. But I don't know if I'll get to this tonight. I think I'll have to get to this one more so tomorrow, but that's fine. It's all good. Anyway, I guess we'll spend the first, 15, 20 minutes of this just kind of checking in on everybody, seeing how everyone's doing. What are you guys reading? I've been feeling like I've been talking a mile a minute to you guys, and I apologize. I just miss you guys. I have a good time here talking to you guys. So, also, I've had coffee at 7 o'clock at night, which is not my brightest idea, but you know what? Where we live, we learn, We live. But how are you guys doing? What are you reading? What are we working on today? Anybody got some fun stuff? I know this is another pretty late one for some people, and I know that a lot of people really seem to enjoy the afternoon ones. So I'm kind of trying to test this stuff out, kind of seeing what seems to be the most popular idea in terms of the time for reading sprints. Should I go back to doing the afternoon ones? Should I stick with the evening ones? I feel like it's kind of up in the air. Saturday nights, I feel like specifically a lot of people might have some downtime to read, but at the same time, I feel like some people are just not, it's getting pretty late for some people. Some people are already in bed if they're in different time zones, stuff like that. Rochelle, reading The Quarter Storm by Veronica Henry. Ooh, I've not heard of that before. Hope that you're enjoying it. But yeah, so, let me know what's going on. Participating in middle grade March of the Mammoths. So I'm reading Dune and The One and Only Ivan. Okay, so never heard of The One and Only Ivan, but Dune I have heard is really good in the sense that like a lot of people seem to like it in like the sci-fi aspect, but my husband tried to read it and he said it was very slow. Keep in mind though, my husband is not a big reader. Like he doesn't read nearly as much as I do, so he's a little less versed in the kind of like setup of like a lot of sci-fi. So you'll have to tell me what you think of Dune, because I have had that one kind of on like a bucket list of books for a long time. But I feel like I have to be in a very particular mood to read sci-fi, unless it's for like my Wheel of D20 prompts or something like that. So, okay, so why don't we get started in about 3 minutes? We'll start at 25 and we'll do our first sprint. Reminder, we will not do 5 minutes and no more than 30 to start us off. We're going to stick between 10 to 25 minutes for the first sprint, just to kind of ease ourselves into it, make sure that everybody's okay. And then we'll kind of go from there. So I'm going to spit out my gum though, because this is getting kind of annoying having to chew this and talk around it. So okay, gum is gone. So fix the shirt. My office is currently a mess and it is driving me insane. I'm going to clean it up tomorrow. I think that might be what I do. Ugh. So let's do our first roll for the sprints and see what we end up doing. Ooh. Only read 6 pages, but the only sci-fi I've read is Frankenstein. Oh, but it's such a good story though. I love Frankenstein. Probably one of my favorite like sci-fi stories ever. Like genuinely, like it is amazing. Genre just getting into. Yeah, so sci-fi, I like sci-fi, but it is very hard for me to find something that I like, in terms of the fact that I think that with sci-fi for me, I can't do very political sci-fi. I don't know why. I have no idea why that is, because I love political fantasies, but political sci-fi just goes right over my head completely. So I like sci-fi in the sense that I like being able to explore the kind of like creatures. I don't know. I guess I don't really know how to explain it, because like I like space opera. I like the idea of the space opera. I like the idea of AI. I like the idea of extraterrestrial life. There's just some sci-fi I feel like just goes way over my head and I don't really know how to explain it. Like it's very, very hard for me to find sci-fi I enjoy, because I think I'm just so intimidated by it compared to fantasy. And I don't understand why. I don't know. But it's about 25, so let's go ahead and make our first roll for the day. And that's a 6. We're not going to do that because we're not doing more than 25 minutes. That's another 6. Please don't roll another 6. 10. No. Too much. 2. There we go. All right. So first sprint will be a quick 10-minute sprint. Let me pull up a 10-minute timer real quick for us, so we have it. And then I got to share my screen. Share my screen. Share my screen. There we go. All right. So we have 10 minutes for our first sprint. Everybody have a good time. Get some good reading in, warm up, and get ready for some more sprints later today. Go. Okay, everybody, that is 10 minutes. Hope everybody did well with that. Okay, so I got through, it was 86 to, I got about 7 pages, basically. Had to take care of something, though. First, I had to find my phone because I didn't know where that went, and then my husband asked me to do something for him, so I did that real quick before I jumped into reading. So, how did you guys do that time? Also, if you guys would like to, feel free to put in the chat what you started out at in your books. And then that way you guys can, look back in the chat at the end of the sprint so that you can see like how far you might have got through your book during the sprint. So feel free to do that, or, just place how many pages you read during that time, in the chat as well right now. Either one works. All right, so let's go ahead and start the next one. Okay, hey, Destiny. Jump in with you guys after I get the baby down for the night. No issues, no problem. Hopefully the baby goes down well. So I say let's get our next one started in about 45. Doing dishes. All right, that's good. Way to be productive. Love to see it. Let's start the next one at 45. Give everybody a nice little break just to get situated. Will be this one also. All right, sounds good. At one point, I think hopefully during a sprint that we're going to already be doing, I am going to have to keep an eye on Oscar. I might have to be away from the computer for a little bit because we have a friend who's going to coming over to have Robert help her with something. So I'm going to have to watch Oscar for a minute. But guys, he's getting so big. He's getting ridiculously big. 16 pages started at 155. Nice. Awesome. Good job, Rochelle. So yeah, let's see. What else is new? Not a whole heck of a lot. Oscar had his first experience with being crated this past week, which was interesting. So we don't crate him. We're trying to keep him, comfortable with being in the house, and essentially we just don't like the idea of crating him, especially all the time, because that can be really bad for some dogs. It can kind of just hurt them more than help them, if that makes sense, in terms of their joints and stuff, especially when they get older. So Oscar basically has reign of the house in a sense where he's able to go sleep anywhere, but he does sleep in our bed with us. We make sure that he stays in certain areas, especially when we're involved. When I'm by myself home working, he is in my space. He's either in here or he's out in the living room with me. But Thursday I had to go away to go to a doctor's appointment for just a checkup, just, standard checkup, whatever it is. But Robert also had to work, so we had to crate him because we didn't have anybody else that was going to be able to take care of him. And I didn't know exactly how long it was going to be because I had to go back to my hometown, which is 40 minutes away, to go to this appointment. And I didn't know how long I was going to be there. I basically ended up being away from home for about a total of 3 hours, and he seemed to do pretty okay, actually. So one thing, though, was I got home, and I noticed there was some blood on the floor. So naturally, I freak out. I don't know what's going on because, first of all, I think that he somehow hurt himself in the cage, he chewed his foot really bad or something. Come to find out that it's something with one of his teeth, but I don't know whether he's cracked it, whether he cut the gum or something by chewing on the bars of the cage, or if it's his teeth coming in, because he is also teething currently. So at that time, though, I was freaking out completely. I was full-blown panic. Called my husband while he was at work, and I was sobbing. I was I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether he's okay, if I have to take him to the hospital. I don't know what's happening, because I was always afraid of trying to crate him and something bad happening. But he actually did really well. He was fine. Ate perfectly fine, so I don't think that a tooth was broken or anything. Still was super playful. If anything, the crate actually in some way, I think he took as a punishment, because he was actually being kind of a jerk for a couple of days. So he, I think in some ways took the crate as a punishment. So he was actually being very, very good for the next like day and a half afterward, which was very funny. I don't know why, but no, he actually did really well. There was no mess in there, having been in there for 3 hours. He didn't tear up his toys that were in there. He didn't hurt himself from anxiety. Like he actually did much better than I thought he would. And there wasn't a ton of blood on the floor, but enough where I was like, oh, what is this kind of thing? So he's doing actually pretty well. I'm very proud of him. And he just got 2 new toys today from my mom and my sister. So he is so happy. He feels like the greatest thing on earth because he's pretty freaking cute. He's pretty spoiled. So also, I did take him upstairs and have him stay with me in my library for a little bit today. So my library has been a mess for like weeks, basically since we got him. I have not had the time to go upstairs and clean it. And yesterday, Robert basically gave me the ability to take some time to go upstairs and clean it so that I could actually have him be up there with me when I decide to be up there, because I wanted to be able to, sit and read up there, do some of my work. Me too, Mia. Me too. I was so happy that he was okay, but I gotta tell you, like I have not had a panic attack like that in a very long time, and I genuinely thought it was my fault. I'm obviously okay now, but like in that moment, I really felt that like I was like the guilty one here because, I had to go away for the doctor's appointment. I couldn't, just reschedule it or something until he was older. Like I had to go, and I just felt so guilty, but I'm okay. I know it's not my fault. It's just something just happened. And honestly, he's not like opposed to the cage. Like he's gone over and he's sniffed it a few times and tried to like crawl in there. So like he's okay with it, but it's not something that we're going to use all that often, at least not unless like Robert and I both have to be gone for whatever reason. So, but so far he seems to actually be doing pretty well with it. Time will tell whether or not that stays the same. But, so yeah, I basically cleaned up upstairs. I took care of a lot of the trash that was sitting around. I put away some of the books I had. I cleaned up my desk. I had my altar all cleaned up and stuff like that I have up there. So now it is actually easy now to keep Oscar up there with me. And I have a very, very cute picture of him from earlier today. So I have a rocking chair upstairs that was my great-grandmother's. And I took it from my mom. And I have a blanket that sits up there. And at one point I look over, and I don't know how well you can see it because it's fairly light, but basically you can see Oscar sitting in the rocking chair. He got himself up there. He climbed himself up into the rocking chair, and he sat down and he looked over at me. It was the cutest thing. I looked over at one point, he was sitting there and he was just like all prim and proper. And I was like, Oscar, what are you doing in the chair? Like I hadn't expected him to crawl up there all by himself because he's a little bit of a klutz. And so I thought he would have at least made one attempt and fallen over, and he didn't. I was surprised. I was really surprised. Put my dogs in my bathroom when no one's home, and that works really well. See, okay, and that's another thing. I wish I had that ability. That bathroom, though, is basically very small. And also there is too much stuff in there that he will get into. Like, he's getting to the point where he's getting so big, he's going to be able to get in the trash can. And there's not a lot of space for me to have, like, the trash can just put in a different place. Like, it's basically, so you open the door to the bathroom, and then, like, right there on the right-hand side is the toilet, and then there's the sink, and then the bathtub shower. There is very minimal space between our toilet and our sink that we just barely have the room for a trash can. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. We can't just, extend the bathroom. This is a rental. But that's kind of the thing that I wish I could just keep him in the bathroom, but he also likes to reach up and claw the doors. And I don't want him to do that because I don't want to have to worry about the issues with that later on down the road if we decide to leave this place and have deposit issues. I have Yorkies, so my bathroom is enough. See, okay, yeah, and Yorkies. I have a German Shepherd. He is a big boy. He's my German Shepherd puppy. So He's a big one. He gets into all kinds of crap. Like actually earlier today, I got very mad at him because, speak of the devil and he shall appear. Hello, Baba. Are you going to come and say hello? Hello, my little man. Come here. Come here. Lucy, come here. This is his new toy he got. Oh, goodness. Come here. Oh, come here. Come here, Baba. This is my little boy. Hello. Okay. No. Excuse me. Sir, can you say hello? Can you say hello, sir? Oh, boy. I guess that's going to be a no. He's more concerned with his toy. What? What? I know, but it's all right. So, yeah, he's a big guy. So earlier today, I was waiting for my mom and my sister to get here. And he has this really bad habit that we're trying to break him of. But he has this very bad habit of basically climbing over the sides of our couches to our end tables that kind of basically like are connected in a sense. Where like they're two separate pieces, but they sit right next to each other. Well, and usually there we have like our drinks, and I specifically had a lot of my stuff sitting there because I was working from the living room for a couple of days because I wanted to be a little bit more comfortable. So I had, for instance, my books, which thankfully didn't get damaged in this unfortunate scenario, but I had my tarot planner, I had a therapy workbook I've been working through, I had a book of Norse myths that I was reading for part of my practice. And all of those had water spilled on them. Thankfully, nothing too crazy, like everything's still readable. The worst of the damage was really done to my therapy workbook, but it's fine. It's gonna dry, it'll be whatever. And worst comes to worst, I could just go ahead and buy another one and use it as like a replacement of sorts. Like it's not that big of a deal. But I was very mad at him about it because he ruined my stuff. And then I found out the cup that he knocked over that had the water in it, he chewed a hole in the straw. And that really made me mad. So I will say I love him. I love him to death. But having a puppy has really changed my perspective of a lot of things. It has really opened my eyes to how hard it can be to raise a puppy. I did not realize it was going to be so difficult. But some days are better than others. And I know that a lot of people say that raising puppies is a lot of times not 100% an equivalent, but very similar to like when you have like kids. And he basically is my training to hopefully be able to have a child in the future. But there are some days where I don't know whether or not I want a child because of his terror that he reigns in this household. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. So, all right, we're a little over on time from me talking, but that's okay. So, so glad my dogs are too. They still chew on stuff, but the first couple months were bad. Yeah, he's about almost 4 months. I mean, he's completely potty trained at this point, which is amazing. Like, I've never met a dog that was so smart to where they were potty trained so quickly. Like, within the first, 2 weeks, he was good. He had very few accidents in the house, and he learned very quickly how to get our attention to get us to take him outside. Like, he has tricks, he has little things, he has little mannerisms that really tell us whether he needs to go outside. And typically one of the biggest things is that if he actually starts acting like a jerk, it's because he needs to go poop. Like, that's one of the biggest tells is if he is consistently for a period of time acting like a jerk during the day, like say half an hour, usually it's because he has to go poop. And that, it's kind of almost like he gets a pent up aggression of sorts that he has to go take a really angry poop. I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, so I do expect that once he hits about 2, it's going to be kind of the same, because I've heard with German Shepherds specifically, when they're puppies, they're really, really they're tough to deal with. And then when they get to about 2, they're pretty bad. Again, because behavior wise, they're trying to take over the house, stuff like that. So, but in all honesty, he's a very good dog. He really tries very, very hard to be good. There's just times where he really needs attention, and it just happens to be the times where I'm in the middle of work or I'm in the middle of something and I can't give it to him. And so then he acts like a jerk because of it. So there's that. But otherwise he's a good boy. Like he really, really tries. He does what he's supposed to. He listens for the most part. And he's still little. We actually on Tuesday are going to go take him to the vet to get the last of his puppy vaccines. And then we'll be able to put him in obedience classes, which will be very helpful. I know obedience classes are like a lifesaver for a lot of people, especially with German Shepherds. So that I'm very excited about, to finally like get him enrolled in that so that he can actually like, not only can he start to learn how to do things properly, but I can also then be able to train him, because that was one of the things I wanted to do, was I wanted to be able to train my dogs. So I'm very excited to get started with those classes so that I can learn to be an effective handler in a sense. And I would eventually possibly like to make him an emotional support dog of sorts, and train him with that and be able to kind of just have him around, because that is another thing about him, was that he's kind of supposed to be my companion, the kind of like, I don't know, like if you would say necessarily he would be my emotional support dog, but I would like to train him in that so that, you know, it's verified that he's like like he could go to like the hospitals, you know, like I could take him to like the hospital or something, or like to people who need help, stability, that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly what they call that, but I would like to be able to do that with him, because I think he would be very good at it. He's very attentive to emotions. That is one thing I love so much about him, is that he's very attentive to emotions and he reacts on those emotions. So, all right, I'm sitting here gabbing away, very much exemplifying my namesake. If you don't know, my name is Gabby. So anyway, let's go ahead and roll, and we'll get started with our next sprint here in a couple minutes. Okay, so this time we rolled a 6, so we'll do a 30-minute sprint for this next one, since we've already done our nice warm-up. So let me find a 30-minute sprint real quick. We'll do this one. We'll do a little flip clock. I'm just going to get it to where it needs to be. Nope. There we go. Kind of. Maybe. Almost. Okay. So, yeah. So for those of you that are joining, welcome. Glad to see you all. Hope you're all having a good day. Should probably update my thing so that you guys can see that what I'm reading. I like to do this. I like seeing when people write the titles of the books they're reading in their names when they're on screen. So there we go. I'm currently reading They Went Left by Monica Hess. Really loving it, honestly. Like, absolutely amazing story. I love it so much. So very excited to continue with this. I think this might be my read for the night. And then, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to try to finish this and then get through more of The Great Hunt, because I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I'm staying home. My husband's actually going to be gone tomorrow, so I'm going to have the house to myself for the whole day. So I'm going to do a lot of reading. I'm super excited. And obviously I have to take care of Oscar, but you know, that's a whole different thing. So I'll have like the whole house to myself for probably most of the afternoon and probably the entire evening, because I don't expect him to be back until late tomorrow, because he is going to a concert with one of his friends. And then that also is really nice though, because Monday he has the day off. So I don't have to worry about taking care of Oscar at all on Monday. He's going to be able to take care of him while I work. So awesome. Makes my life a lot easier. And then today, like I said, I went out, hung out with my mom and my sister while he watched Oscar. So we try to like find a good balance of like one of us being able to watch him. Typically when he comes home from work, he spends more time with him than I do, because I spent time with Oscar all day by that point. So we try to find a good balance. But who said I can drink coffee at 7 p.m. and drink it continuously into the night? Not this brain. Somebody else's brain decided that. That's where I'm going to place the blame. Anyway, we're going to do 30 minutes of reading. Why don't we get started with that, huh? How about it? Let's do it. All right, guys. 30 minutes of reading. We're going to come back around 25. So good luck. Have some fun. Get some reading in. If you're new and you want to put down the page count you're starting off at, please feel free to. And then that way you know kind of where you end up by the end of the sprints. Awesome. And okay, hey, late night coffee people. Love it. Love to see it. Thank you, Mia, for making me feel not alone in this. All right, 30 minutes of reading, go. All right, everybody. Welcome, Thrifty. Glad to see you. Very happy to see you. We're just finishing up a sprint. So happy that you're going to join us for the next one. How are you doing? What you reading this week? I am reading They Went Left by Monica Hess. So that time I got a lot of pages read that time. Give me 1 second, I can tell you. I got about 37 pages that time. So, oh goodness. I gotta get all adjusted so I'm all comfy. Oscar popped in for a hot second. Ooh, Reading An American Marriage. Never heard of it. Hope you're liking it. That seems cool. Yeah, so I don't know what it is with me, but there are some times where I get on these sprints and I'm like, oh, I have all these things I want to talk about. And I talk about them in the first maybe hour. And then I'm like, what do I talk about next? I don't know. But yeah. And I feel like I'm going kind of berserk because I've been drinking coffee. By Tayari Jones. Tayari? I don't know. Jones. Awesome. Princess! Hello! I'm so glad you're here! Oh my gosh! Hi! I totally did not just pull a you there. Oh, yes, Thrifty. Thank you for reminding me. That was something I did want to talk about. So, the flood. If you guys don't remember, last week I was telling you guys that during sprints I found out that my parents' basement had flooded. And I'm doing well. I'm doing great, actually. Today's been a really good day. Next sprint I get to read, I have 1 load to dry, and I'm done with dishes. Woo! Awesome, Mia. That's awesome. Okay, so the flood. So there was about 9 inches of water throughout the entire basement. So a lot of stuff did get ruined or damaged. My younger sister actually had stuff in the basement. So I got to do a little bit of backtracking here to kind of explain the situation. So my parents' basement for the longest time was just a basement, just completely wooden. It's a wooded basement because my parents' home is basically a manufactured home. And the basement is all wood. Now, in the past, we had plenty of floods. We had a lot of them basically because of runoff from rain, stuff like that. And then when I was about, I want to say 7 years old, we had a hot tub room basically built as an extension of the house. It basically was a way for us to, one, close off the door that was leading from the basement to the outside, which was where all the water would come in from during the rain. So it was a way to basically cordon that off, but then it also, we had wanted to get a hot tub, so we just decided to, make that kind of a space for it. So that kept us from having floods due to weather. But then we've had the sump pump fail in our basement multiple times because our sump pump is in the basement. Now, a couple times the sump pump has failed because of a power outage and it just would basically get backed up. What happened this past time is that the sump pump actually, a breaker had switched. The sump pump itself basically had broken. And so not only did my parents have to replace it, but then, like I said, there was 9 inches of water throughout the entire place. It just filled. Also, in the basement, my mom had furnished off a part of it because she used to be a photographer and it was her photography studio. For the last several years, though, she hasn't been doing it. She actually closed down the business because of time and she got, less interested in it as time went on. And then my sister had taken over that furnished part as her bedroom over the summer when my husband and I were staying with my parents because she decided to give up her bedroom for us so that we had a place to stay because my mom had taken over my old bedroom as her office. So fast forward to now, last week specifically, my sister is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, basically for school. So she's over 2 hours away from my parents, and the basement basically is no longer her bedroom. She moved all of her stuff up to her old bedroom after Robert and I had moved out and moved into this house. So her bedroom was basically, taken back over, but she still had stuff downstairs because there wasn't enough room in her bedroom to fit them, namely, specifically, a bookshelf filled with a large portion of her books. Several of them she has with her in her home in Grand Rapids, but all of this to say that in the destruction of things that were done in the basement, my sister unfortunately lost a good portion of her books. They were completely underwater. The actual bookshelf itself was also destroyed. That the books that were on the bottom of it were the only thing holding up that entire bookshelf. So it was very devastating for her. Some of her favorite books were on there. Some of them she had not read as of yet, but some of her favorite books were destroyed. She had a couple of them that were signed that were destroyed. So that was really rough. On top of already having lost for my parents a lot of stuff down there that might not necessarily have been necessarily very sentimental, but was just a lot of stuff that they had accumulated over the years. Furniture, some of my grandfather's stuff that we still had was ruined. Not like very important furniture, but nonetheless furniture that we had from having taken on his stuff after he had passed away. I thankfully did not really have anything down there, nor did Robert have anything down there that was of utmost importance, because most of the stuff I had down there was stuff from like college, and it was not really stuff I really needed, or it was stuff that I was no longer using, was looking to get rid of. So there was nothing very sentimental for me down there, unfortunately. Yes, thank you, Thrifty. I really appreciate that. Thankfully, everybody's safe. Everybody's fine. The basement did get deflooded. Like, basically, the water's gone. My parents had some restoration people come through and take out the drywall that was in the furnished part of the basement. They removed a lot of the insulation that was also in the basement. It was a very expensive job, but it kind of also was needed because it, honestly, in all honesty, there was a lot of stuff down there my parents had been meaning for years to get rid of because they didn't use it. It was old or it was broken and was just sitting in the basement because they didn't know what to do with it. So in some way, there was kind of a silver lining within all of that because they actually then were able to have some of those things taken out by the restoration people. They were able to take them out of there, and then also they were able to get a dumpster to throw out other things that were not salvageable. So, but yeah, so my sister lost some things that were very, sentimental to her. She's much more sentimental. I mean, honestly, if it were my books, I think I would be devastated too. So I totally understand why she got very upset by it. But my mom was showing pictures to me of some of the books specifically that were damaged, and I took it upon myself to replace some of those. I basically just went on thrift books and had found a couple newer copies of some of the books she had, but mostly used books to replace some of the ones that she had. I actually gave most of them to her today when I saw her. I do have one more that is supposed to come in on Monday for her. It's the one that's coming from the furthest away, basically, so it's not going to get here till Monday. But yeah, I actually took some time to figure out what were some of the most important books of hers that she had lost that I then replaced for her, because I hated the fact that specifically the books that she loved so much were gone. And I wholeheartedly know that my sister, if given the ability to do something like that for me, she would do it. And I am also a person who has a very strong love language of giving gifts to show that I care and that show that that I love, kind of thing. So I couldn't not take some time to replace that, because I just felt like I needed to give my sister something. My sister's also been finishing up here with college, and it's been very stressful, and to know that things of hers that she has no control of, the state of them are gone, like that's not okay. That's not okay to like happen ever. And so if I was able to do something to help with that and keep her from having to spend hundreds of dollars to replace those things, I was going to do it. I was going to try to find things used if I could. And, take the time to, find the things that she really, really wanted to make sure were replaced. So I did that. Whole house got flooded in 2010, so I feel for you. Being flooded is definitely not fun. Yeah, like I said, there's been multiple floods over the course of my life in that house. Because like I said, up until we had the hot tub room built, there was, I think I want to say 3 or 4. The worst one was when I was about 6. It was not long after we moved into the house. There was a huge storm that came through, and I think there was about 4 feet. There's about 3 feet of water. That was like the very first flood we ever had. So I'm not it's not a stranger to us necessarily. Like, we've had a pipe burst in there before. We've had the sump pump fail a couple times. But this was the worst one we've had in a while. And this one just seemed to, I think, do more damage, like, emotionally than the rest of them, truthfully. I think this one emotionally might have been as bad as that very first one we had ever had. Yeah, I honestly, like, she's my sister. I love her. The books I got for her had meant a lot to her for one reason or another, and I wouldn't feel good about myself at all if I hadn't at least made some kind of attempt to help her and replace those for her. I had texted her what I got for her basically was the first 6 volumes of the Maximum Ride manga series, because she and I had read the Maximum Ride series growing up, and she has a small collection of the manga series that was adapted from the actual books. And then she also had 2 Brian Selznick novels. She had The Invention of Hugo Cabret and Wonderstruck, I think, which are childhood favorites of hers. Those are her favorite books from her childhood. And so, like, those have a lot of very sentimental meaning for her. So I knew that purely based on that, I had to replace those ones specifically. So I figured out which ones she had already had out of that setup. And I texted her saying, hey, I just ordered these. These should come in sometime next week. And this whole next week, she has spring break. So today she came out to see me with my mom, and I gave her the ones I had actually received up to today, because right before she got here, I got 2 packages that were coming in that were from the different used bookstores that sent them out my way. So I got all of them except for one, and that last one's coming Monday. But she's going to probably come out hopefully sometime this next week anyway, to come bring her boyfriend over to meet our puppy, because he has not met our puppy yet. And I'll be able to give that to her then. But yeah, I just would not have felt right if I didn't do something. And of course, my sister, being the little sentimental being that she is, I love her to death. She started crying when I gave the books to her. And I didn't want to do it just because, like, I wanted something out of it. I really did it because I love my sister, and I know what it would. I felt so much for her for losing things that were very sentimental to her. Oh God, I'm gonna start crying. My sister's like one of my best friends ever, and like I said, I just would not have felt right not being able to do something to help her, and do something to help maybe replace things that she lost. I can't replace everything. There's some things I'm never going to be able to replace that were down in my parents' basement. But I thought if I could at least do something, I thought that was going to be the easiest and best thing, because that's it's my love language. language. And it's something that like I really I wanted to make sure. And you guys, what sucks even more about this whole thing is that this all happened the day before my sister's 22nd birthday. Like the 20th was when this flood happened. My sister's birthday was the 21st. That is when all this stuff happened. And so I kind of considered it also like a late birthday gift for her because I couldn't really get her much for her birthday. But Robert and I both basically were like, we have to do this. Like, this is like, there is no way we can't, do something for her, even if it's, replacing these books of hers that she really loved. At least I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I didn't do something like that. But yeah, this all happened literally the day before her birthday. And I felt so bad about that because God knows, like, if something happened to my books, I would be devastated. And I could not live with myself without being able to help her with that. So, but yeah, thank you for reminding me about that, Thrifty, because I actually did mean to give you guys an update on that since I was sharing that with you last week. But everything seems to be doing okay. The basement's completely dry. Everything's, taken out. There's still some stuff down there that my parents weren't able to throw in the dumpster because they were too heavy. They couldn't take care of it themselves, kind of thing. So there is still some stuff to go through to basically like get rid of, but it's another chore for another day. It's not going to kill anybody to, keep those there for a little bit longer. And the restoration people that came through also sprayed down like an antimicrobial thing down there to keep from mold and mildew growing in the wooden basement. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it was pretty rough. My mom was a little devastated. And because my mother is very sentimental too. So there's a lot of stuff down there that, like a lot of her stuff that she used to use all the time for school. Like it's a lot of stuff that like she wouldn't use like now, but like she had a lot of old like activity stuff down there that got ruined that like, it's all stuff that she can replace eventually. It's not, she doesn't need it because she now works with high school students. But when she would work with like the elementary school kids, a lot of stuff like games and stuff that she could use with them. But all the most important stuff that she needs now is at the school she works at. So like nothing there was like as important as the stuff that she has now, but it still really sucked. It really did. And I am thankful, like I said, nobody was hurt. Nobody, obviously like got injured or anything. It really stinks that had to happen. And, just add it to the list of things. It feels like, truthfully, like it just added to the list of stuff that, we as a family had to deal with, on top of everything else going on in the world that had to be added to our list. So anyway, I've been gabbing on for a little while. Again, bringing out my namesake here. Let's go ahead and do another sprint. I've been feeling like I've been talking for quite a while. So I know everybody's here for the sprints, but I do appreciate you guys checking in on me. That makes me feel really good. Like that, I appreciate that so much. Everybody's doing all right. Everybody's doing okay. We're doing the best we can. Living I'm not going to say laughing because we're not, I might be laughing now, but we're not live, laugh, loving. Not exactly. We're living. We're at the living stage. I don't know what that was. I just don't question it. Anyway, next sprint. Let's see what we're going to do. Oh, okay. Nice short one after that whole gab fest. We're going to go with a 15-minute sprint. Roll to 3, so 3 times 5 is 15. For those of you that might need a refresher, I don't know if you do. Sometimes I do. I feel I didn't do as well with math half the time, so sometimes I need a refresher of what the hell things are. So let me see if I can find a nice 15-minute timer. Timer. Ooh, let's do this one. This one's nice. This one's nice and pretty. Okay. Okie dokie. We're going to do this one. It's nice, ambient, sunset. Very, very pretty. All right, so we're going to go basically to the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Go ahead and grab your books. 15 minutes of reading. I did not place my little banner the last time, but there we go. All right, 15 minutes and go. Okay, everybody, that has been 15 minutes. Hope that went well for you guys. Let's see. How much did I get done? I didn't quite read an entire chapter. No, I read a full chapter and then part of another. Let's see. 30. About 17 pages, I think. So yeah, it's going pretty well. I'm about 42% of the way through They Went Left. Man, this book, like, it's really good. Like, genuinely, it is very, very, like, simplistic writing style, very easy to fly through. Very easy to understand, like, the story. Like, there's not really any question. There are some flashbacks. Well, not necessarily flashbacks, but they're kind of like dream sequences in a sense. And they have this ability to kind of showcase that the main character is not, I wouldn't say she's unreliable, but she has a lot of like PTSD, basically. It's the best way I can describe it. And these dreams she has are like different versions of the same dream, which is supposed to be a memory of her being separated from her brother, because she can't quite remember how she was separated from her brother in a sense. And I think that part of the story is you learning that, because she's trying to kind of remember things that happened when she lost her family, and it's very painful. So there's like a lot of like triggers for PTSD and like other stuff like that. So very, very good so far. I like it a lot though. 73% of An American Marriage. Nice. Good job, Thrifty. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we have a little bit less than 2 hours more of sprints. So since we're at the halfway point, I want everybody to make sure they get a good stretch in. Make sure that you're hydrated. Even if it's not water, make sure that you've got a drink. Finishing up my coffee here. Got a little bit left, so I think I'm going to go get a drink myself. And stretch my legs. Go say hello to the Oscar, because he's probably sleeping at this point. He's probably napping out in the living room. Go say hello to my husband for a minute, who's currently playing video games with his friends. So, yeah. But yeah, so I think we'll do the next sprint at about the 15-minute mark. So give us, everybody, just a few minutes to go do what they need to. I'll be quick, but we'll go ahead and take a break. So just go do what you need to do. Make sure to also use the bathroom if you need to. Some people might need a reminder for that. Go use the bathroom if you have to use it. You got time. Go do it. You know? So, secretly love short sprints. Oh my gosh, I know. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with them. Like, I secretly really love them, but sometimes I hate them only because I get distracted so much more easily after a short sprint. I usually end up scrolling on TikTok for like an hour after like a 10-minute sprint. So there's that. But not tonight. Not tonight. So everybody, yes, hashtag break. Yes. Everybody go take a break. Hands in, ready, break. Go. Go do what you need to do. Be back by the 15-minute mark though, because we're going to do our next sprint then. Okay. Itch on my hip. Okay. Anybody that's still here, hello. Hi. I am back. Still got a few minutes though before we'll do our next sprint. But took out Oscar outside because he had to go potty. Yeah, so he was in the middle of a nap and then he heard mom come out and he was so excited. And then he's like, I have to go pee. So please take me outside. So, all right, and I got my drink. I got my AHA right here. Loud, I apologize. Oh, sparkling water for me hits the spot. It's good stuff. I know some people don't care for sparkling water. That's okay. You can be wrong all you want. I'm kidding. Hey, I gotta be goofy somewhere in here. Like I can't just be talking about sad stuff, you know? It's gotta have some kind of goofiness and humor, right? That's what I gotta do. That's my personality, if you don't know. God, I'm so fucking weird. What is wrong? Why am I this? I don't know. I don't know why I'm this weird. I appreciate those of you that enjoy it. I just feel like I'm a freaking moron sometimes when I'm on stream. I don't know. It's just that's just who I am. Anyway, any what's it? I don't know what's going on. My brain. I think I'm getting tired. I think the caffeine's going to my head. So, all right. About 5 more minutes until we'll do our next sprint. So let's go ahead and do a quick roll, and I'll tell you guys what we're going to end up with. But don't worry, we're not starting for like another 5 minutes, so you're good. Or 4 minutes now, but. Oh, okay. We're going to have another short one this time. So next sprint's going to be another 10-minute sprint. So all you short sprinters out there, you're going to enjoy this one, I think. So let me see if I can find another. Ooh, this one will be nice. It's got a little jellyfish in it. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so how have you guys been? I know that here in Michigan, at the very least, most of the colleges are getting ready to go on their spring break. So, I mean, obviously I'm not. I'm a fully grown adult now that don't have no spring breaks anymore. I have to work next week. But I found out some interesting information with work yesterday that basically is that like my company, like my team is changing to a different contracting agency. Like I still will be in the same position. I'm still working for the same company, but basically like the place that gives me my paycheck more specifically is changing for now the second time in 2 years. So still getting some coffee together. Well, hurry up, coffee maker. Get Thrifty's coffee going. Let's go. Got 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes, coffee maker. Come on. Yeah, so anyway, basically I found out that like my agency is changing again, which basically just means that like I'm going to have a different person giving me my paycheck for the same job that I've been doing, which is fine, not anything new. It tends to happen with my team specifically because we kind of get bounced around from different areas, is basically based on need. So it's kind of what happened. This happened about this time last year. We were going through a agency change. So I hope that this is not going to be like an every year kind of thing, because if so, that's going to be very annoying. But that's something else. For those of you that have been around with me for a hot minute, you might remember me talking about the idea of trying to fight for myself to get a raise at work. I'm going to continue figuring that out. Coffee is already made. I refrigerate and use as needed. Oh, I should do that. Like a cold brew kind of situation almost. I'm not a cold brew person though. Like I don't like the cold brew that like Starbucks does or like the canned cold brew. Can't do it. But if you freeze your own or refrigerate your own coffee, that might be different. That I might be more in tune with. But no, so if you guys remember, like, if you've been around with me since like October, basically, you might have heard me talk about the fact that I've been trying to advocate for myself and one of my coworkers to get raises because we've been with our company for a few years now. And back in October, our team lead had basically left and had left all of the workload to the both of us. There's two of us, myself and my coworker, who are handling like all of our work, which is typically a 3-person job. And it's a lot. I don't get paid enough basically for what I do. I get barely paid more now than what is considered the minimum wage in a lot of parts of the US because the minimum wage did for a lot of places go up to like $15 an hour. I get paid like $16 an hour. So I have been trying to fight to get a raise for myself and my coworker. And I'm continuing that fight now, especially since we're going to be changing to a new agency. I have to wait though for like the right moment because like I'm trying to not bring it up too early because like I said, we just learned about this transition yesterday. So I'm going to hold off to like bring up the conversation again until like sometime probably next week when we, started going through like figuring out who's going to be the one leading it, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's other news in my life if you're interested. Just regular coffee I make a pot in the refrigerator. Yes, fight for your raises. Yay. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying. I've been really fighting for it because it's been needed. I did technically get a raise in April when we changed agencies, but it was like a 25-cent raise, not even. That's not really enough. And the thing is like I can't 100% explain my job because like it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it's a lot. And thankfully, because my boss already knows that this was something that I was trying to get the ball rolling with, my hope is that with this transition to a new agency, we can further the conversation in terms of the fact that technically we're having to reapply for our jobs. It then kind of requires us to look at our contracts again. So hopefully there's something in that we can work with. So I think this is honestly, I was really hoping that this month I would hear, honestly, like I said, that if in March I do not hear anything about the fact that I, sent in this request about raises and stuff, if I hadn't heard anything by March, I was going to have to start looking for another job because I'm not being taken seriously. And lo and behold, in March, I find out we're changing agencies again, and I have the opportunity to continue fighting for that raise. So we're going to do it. Anyway, so we're going to do another 10-minute sprint here because that's what we ended up rolling. So enjoy these nice jellyfish here for the next 10 minutes. Everybody have a good quick sprint. I will see you at the 25-minute mark-ish. Go. Okay, everybody, that was 10 minutes. How'd you guys do that time? I did not complete the chapter I was currently working on. Or no, I did, and then another partial. Where did I end up going? Somewhere? Yeah, it's right here. So I started on 148 at like 11 pages. 11 pages read. Mental math is not my strong suit, you guys. It truly is not. I was an English major, not a math major. Yeah. All right, so we have about an hour and a half left of sprints. So yeah, what do you guys got planned going on? And what I was trying to get at with the spring break thing was I wanted to see how everybody's doing with what you guys have got planned for the spring break. I mean, are you like me where you're still working no matter what? Or do you guys have actual plans? I know there's some people who are still in school, some people aren't. What's everybody's plans going on for this next coming week? Like I said, my sister's on spring break this coming week, so I think she's going to be bringing her boyfriend over if he's able to get down here, because he lives like 3 hours away from their school. And well, he's actually out in Grand Rapids right now. But basically he's got like stuff to do in town, and then he's going to be going to stay with my parents, my sister, for a few days. Like he's just going to go hang out with them during spring break. And my sister was saying that she was thinking that they might be able to come over to see Oscar because he wants to meet Oscar really bad. But I don't know exactly what day they'll be here. 1.5 chapters read. Nice. Nice. Those must be some pretty short chapters to get like a whole chapter read during that one and then half of another. But yeah, I'm basically just going to be working all next week. I'll still be working. Hopefully I'll be at a different job this spring. Oh, I really hope you do. I hope you do. I hope you get a better job. I'm hoping for good things for both of us, my friend. Genuinely. February is never my best month. I've noticed that the last handful of years. February is like my least like mentally healthy month. I had to think of the right phrase for that. But yeah, February is like the worst month for me. I don't know what it is. It's so silly because like I have nothing to like be upset with. Like, I mean, like the most important thing besides Valentine's Day and my dad and my sister's birthday is that my YouTube anniversary is in February. It's February 18th. So it's already gone and passed by now. But for some reason, February is like the month where I get so easily burned out. I don't know why. Like this month was this past month was no exception to that, because like by the halfway point of February, I was so done. Mentally, I was so drained. I was exhausted. And like I tried to like keep it together to like do sprints and stuff, but like I had a lot of stuff that I realized this past month that I can no longer do because it takes way too much time. I decided to step away from my Twitch channel entirely because I don't enjoy it anymore. And I don't feel like I have any desire to continue with it. I basically stopped writing for the most part because like I don't have any desire to write. I don't feel like it's in my like something I want to continue with anymore, which that was by itself like a real grieving process because I have always had this dream of being a writer. And so like the kind of soul crushing nature of like realizing the dream you've had since you were a kid is never like, it's not going to be fulfilled basically because your life goes in a whole different direction. That was like existential crisis hit like hard with that one. So I'm fine now. Like, and I'm actually more at peace with like that aspect, but yeah, it was not fun. February is never a good month for me for some reason. Chapters are short, plus I'm flying through because I want to know what happens. Oh, that always makes it easier. Yeah, like I feel like I'm flying through. They went left. Like just today, I started this today. And this morning I read like the first 80 some pages of this. I'm on page 160 right now. And it's a short book, don't get me wrong. But like I can't stop reading it. I can't. Like I love how this book reads so much. It is so like it's fun, but it's also so heartbreaking. But it's like I want to keep reading because I want there to be a happy ending. Truthfully, like it's one of those books where like you're reading it to make sure that it has a happy ending or not. I feel drained from in-office working. The current job is a huge toxicity. Oh no, thank you. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, so I was having this conversation actually with one of my coworkers. So kind of going in the whole toxicity realm of working in like a corporate office, for instance, of some kind, or any kind of like in-office stuff, whether you're working like as a customer service rep or whatever the case may be. There's like this just, I don't know if this is just like a office job like thing, but why is it that we can't actually have like good environments? Like, I will say I feel very fortunate that like there's not really any toxicity in my team. Like we're a very small team. We enjoy working with each other. We don't have any issues. But my coworker and I that I'm trying to help get the raises for, like the both of us, we're not being properly paid for what we are. So we were having this whole conversation yesterday after we had this meeting about the fact that we were going to be changing agencies again. And she and I were both basically saying the same thing. We're like, this is unfair. Like we both have been working for this place for at least 3 years. She's been there at least a year longer than I have. So she's going on like 4 or 5 years of working for this company. And it just doesn't make any sense how like we barely made any kind of progress in our pay. Like we've had adjustments made for living wage adjustments, all that stuff that you're supposed to get. And in our contracts, we originally had it where like we would be getting like a small raise every year. And I don't think that's ever really happened. And technically you could say that with the last agency change we had that we got a raise, but again, it was like not even 25 cents for me in particular. So it just boggles my mind how a company, any company, regardless of what it is, any company can spend so much money on really fruitless endeavors and not put it back into their actual company, like company workers, you know? Like, it's so fucking annoying, truthfully, because I literally right now could go to the Target that is like 3 blocks away from me and get a job there for more money than I am making right now. It's insane that is the likelihood of what I would have to do if I wanted to be paid more money. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't. So that's why I'm really trying to fight for these raises for myself. And not just for, like I said, not just for myself, but for me and my coworker. Because there is no reason why she should not get the same raise I do, because we're doing the same basic job and she's been at this longer than me. Like, what? That's the other thing is like, you know, some people might be like, well, why are you advocating for her? Why don't you just advocate for yourself? The reason I advocate for her and for me is because I wouldn't feel right about getting a raise and her and she, who has basically the same exact job that I do, she wouldn't get one. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is it that why was it that like I should just get the raise? Why can't she also do it? You know, I don't see the point in only one of us getting it. Like, neither of us are leading the other. Like, we both kind of do our own thing and split up the work. Why wouldn't we both get the raise, you know? Anyway, so everyone needs therapy and they're not aware that they do. For sure. Oh my God, there are so many people in this world that need therapy and they either refuse to do it. Granted, there's a lot of people that can't because they can't afford it, and that is unfortunate. I hope that those people can somehow find a way to access therapy. But there are so many more people who don't even know that they have it. And it is bonkers, the number of that group. Continuing my therapy, however, I doubt I can survive the environment. I don't feel safe. Yeah, see, I get it. I mean, I stopped therapy now a month and a half ago, and some days I'm like, why did I stop this again? I feel for you, like, genuinely. Now my brain's dying because I'm like just so done with corporate bull. Like, genuinely, it's so stupid. I don't understand. I don't understand why these environments have to be like this. Like, whatever happened to being a decent person to one another in all respects and like staying out of other people's business? I don't understand. I understand your point. It sounds like you're fair. I try to be. Like, I genuinely told my coworker, I was like, I'm not doing this without you getting one. Like, there is no reason why you should not get one within this. And honestly, the person that got the fire lit under my ass was the team lead who left for a better paying job because she was being underpaid. Criminally underpaid for being the team lead. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. She's the one that put the fire under my ass, though, to really fight for a raise after she left. So that doesn't say a lot. I don't know what else does. Higher level VPs have the money for therapy. They just love being toxic. Oh my God. Yeah. Ugh. Girl, I'm so sorry. Ugh. See, and again, like, my team is so small, I don't have to deal with like that level of bull. So I do feel grateful for that. But I am so sorry you have to deal with that. That is not at all like I do not blame you for wanting to find a new job. I don't, because that is bull. Like, I have worked in retail before and I hated it. But I would much rather work in retail than work in an office like that where it is, you can't escape from that. At least in retail, most of the toxicity comes from the customers who come in and out. You know, like, they're not always going to be there. You work in an office like that, it's always there. You cannot escape it. Oh my gosh. Whew. I am so sorry. I had a yawn attack there. Sorry if I made any of you yawn. Oh, goodness. That's usually because this is about the time I go to bed. So, but we're not going to bed yet. We still have another hour and 20 minutes of sprints. So, how about we take a second, we breathe. Okay? We take some deep breaths. I'm getting a little too amped. Or I'm just getting too amped. I have a lot of stuff running through my head recently. So I'm just getting all kinds of worked up. But yeah, let's just take a nice minute to relax. It is a visceral feeling. Yes, seriously. I am so sorry, Thrifty, that you have to deal with that. Breath work. Yes, seriously. That it is the little things, I think, in life that make it easier for us to get through things day by day. And I'm very sorry you have to deal with this toxic environment. Because that stuff can sometimes even come home with you. And I know how that feels. I know how it feels to let, not in like a work sense, but in general, I know how it feels to let a toxic environment come with you place to place. And it's not cool. It's not fun. It's not a way you want to live. It's not a way any person should want to live. And sometimes I think that, like, I get so worked up about the stupidest things because, you know, I'm a very emotional person. I get worked up over the dumbest things. I get angry at the stupidest things because I have a lot of passion and I care. And I forget sometimes that, truthfully, all I need to avoid feeling like that, or at least to like come at something a little bit more calmly, is that I need to take a breath. My husband will tell you he is very hard to get me to take a breath because when I'm mad because I'm very passionate. I will be the first to tell you that it is not easy. It's not easy to listen to other people say to take a breath. Because a lot of times we need it, right? So, hopefully, you can all take a breath with me and just enjoy this space. Enjoy this time of your reading. And I know we can get worked up, we can get talking about all kinds of stuff, and that's good, that's fine. You know, let's vent. Yes, breath work really works. It really does, because all it does is it gives you that second to activate your sympathetic nervous system to get you to slow down for just a moment. That's all you need, right? Sometimes you just need a minute, whether you're working in retail, working in an office, working from home, you know, whatever the case may be, you just take a minute to take a breath, just recenter. Sometimes that can get you through the next 5 minutes, next 10 minutes, next hour, you know, whatever it is you need. Listen to me. I get all worked up and then I'm acting like some kind of like guru. Is that the word I want to use? I don't know. I don't know if that's the word I want to use exactly, but something. Not a yogi, because I'm not a yoga. Like, I like yoga, but I'm not well versed in yoga, so I'm not. I don't fucking know. I'm tired of trying to figure out what the hell I'm trying to say half the time. Y'all haven't even had alcohol, okay? This is me normally. So I don't know. Like, I feel like that a lot of times I forget that I have to take a breath. So sometimes I get really worked up and I can feel myself like getting like all kinds of antsy. And so then it's like, wait a minute, I gotta take a breath. Let's all take a breath. Let's all take a nice breath. Okay, let's do it. We're good. Okay. I appreciate you think I'm funny because I feel like I'm just sitting here acting like I got like tentacles for arms and tentacles for arms. Yeah, I guess that works. Especially with this movement. What is my... I don't know. At least I'm entertaining. At least I'm entertaining to some of you guys. Like that's all I care about. If I can get you to laugh, that's all I care about. Genuinely. Even if I make myself feel like an idiot, that's okay. As long as I'm making you laugh. That's all I care about. Speaking of which, things I care about, let's do another sprint, right? I care about sprints. Let's do that. Ooh, okay. So with this one, oh my gosh, I got like really warm all of a sudden doing that. Oh, I gotta take this thing off. Okay, so next sprint, I don't know if you guys can see that exactly, but we did land on a bigger number. We landed on a 10 that time. So that means we're gonna do a nice long 50-minute sprint. Please do not feel as if you have to do the entire sprint. I know this one's gonna be a long one. If you have to take a break, if you have to go do something for a minute. I don't always do these long ones because I, a lot of times want to check on Oscar, make sure he's okay, go say hello to my husband, whatever the case may be. I might have to run to the bathroom, I have to get another drink, something like that. Do not feel like you have to take the entire sprint. Do what you can. If you want to finish your chapter, and then take the rest to take a break. Whatever you need to do. Do this how you want. But for the next 50 minutes, we will be working on something in the effect of a sprint. we're going to do that really fun, colorful, trippy one that we did one of the last couple times that like I did sprints and we were doing like all kinds of fun little timers. We're going to do the nice, trippy, colorful one this time. So, all right. We'll start let's start in a couple minutes. Let's start in about 3 minutes. I want everybody now, before we do the sprint, because the sprint will basically get us to the 40-minute mark of the next hour. So we'll have, like, this will probably be our last sprint for the night, which is fine. It's a nice long one to end off. I want everybody to take some good deep breaths, genuinely. Like, I did that, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like we got to do this because I'm feeling like I need to. So I want everybody to just take a second, put your book down, put your phones down, whatever you're doing, you know. I just want you guys to take a few deep breaths, okay? Like, genuinely, we spend way too much time moving, and I am so guilty of that. It is a very big part of my life to move, and not stop. And I always forget to take some time to breathe, take some time to decompress, stretch, you know, my body, stretch my mind, stretch my soul in a sense where, like, I give myself the room to take up this space to do something for myself. Okay? So I want everybody to take the next 2 minutes, sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes if you want to, place your hand on your heart if you want to, or on your stomach, just get comfortable. I just want you to take some breaths, right? So I'll sit back as my chair squeaks and just take a second to breathe. We're all here. We're all in a safe space. We're all doing something we enjoy. Just take a minute. Because even with reading, sometimes we can be go, like with these sprints, and we don't take the time to take a breath, take a break. I want you guys to think about that for a second. Well, for a minute. Now we got a minute. But genuinely, I care about you guys. I care about everybody that comes to watch me, because I think that every person that comes to, like, interact with me, I know that everybody deals with something. I don't know always what it is, but I know you guys all deal with something, you know, and I never want anyone to feel like they can't come here and feel like that this is a safe place for them. So if you come to get away from something so that you can sit and read for a little while to get away from things, that's fine. If you want to share that, you're fine too. If you don't, that's fine too. I don't give a crap. Like, I'm here. You know, like, I just want you guys to feel like this is a good space for you to decompress, be able to have some laughs, because I'm an idiot most times, so I'm just, like, goofy. Like, seriously, if I could juggle, I would juggle for your entertainment, but I can't really juggle, and I don't have exactly the right materials to juggle. So there's that. But, you know, like, I just want this to be a nice, comforting environment for everybody, just so that you guys can feel like, you know, it's an environment that you feel able to remove yourself from, you know, life for 4 hours on a Saturday night, you know? So, okay, with that said, deep breaths. It's all going to be okay. I know things are really bad in the world right now for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of shit that's going on that is not okay in many respects. And it hurts my heart every time I look at the news. But for right now, we don't have to focus on that, right? And that's what I want to do. Loving all the love. Yeah, I wish I could juggle. I can't. But every time I see that, I think of the little circus thing. Yeah, every time I see that, that's what I think of. All right. Goofiness aside, gabbing aside, we're going to do the last sprint here. This is going to probably be the last sprint, just because I'm pretty sure that with the last, like, 20 minutes that we're going to have, we're just going to sit and chat and just, you know, end off the sprints. So 50 minutes, we're going to come back around the 40, 41 minute mark. So everybody have a nice long sprint. Again, take breaks if you need them. Let's go from there. All right, go. Okay, everybody, that is the end of that sprint. That is the end of our last sprint for today. Figured we'd use the last little bit of time just to kind of check in on everybody, see how you guys did today. I know I did a lot of talking today. I also know I do a lot of talking on most of my lives, but I feel like for some reason, maybe it's just me, but I feel like for some reason we didn't have nearly as many sprints as we normally do. I don't know why. I think we had like, maybe it was because we had a lot of short ones. And maybe it was because I talked a lot. I don't know. I am not sure. But it felt like that there wasn't really as many sprints this time. That's kind of weird. But, so yeah, how did everybody do today in terms of your reading? I got through, I think, not quite 100 pages basically with these sprints, but overall, they went left today, and I've read through 176 pages today. So feel pretty good about that. And basically, I just got to the point where I'm about halfway and decided I needed to do some organizing for tomorrow because I'm going to be basically trying to use my tomorrow as like kind of a productivity day of sorts. Getting a lot of reading done, doing some stuff around the house, and especially since Robert's going to be gone, taking care of stuff. I don't know what that crashing was. 85% of an American marriage. Nice. Good for you. That's awesome, Thrifty. I'm super, super happy for you that you got through quite a bit. Here, let me take that banner off now that I'm looking at it. So yeah. What else was I going to say? I don't remember now. Well, one thing that I do want to say is I will be having a new video coming out hopefully on Tuesday, or no, hopefully Monday. And it's basically going to be my vlog of the first week of March, or like the first like few days of March, basically, because I am doing vlogs for Greek Godathon, which is a month-long readathon. If you're not participating in it, you still have the ability to participate the rest of this month. If you go to my March TBR video, there's information there for it. But basically, I'm going to be having vlogs throughout this entire month dedicated to that, as well as a separate vlog for my Wheel of D20 picks. I'm going to say trying to film for both of those at the same time this week was kind of strange, but I'll figure it out. Scared to read further. I don't want to learn the end. I'm going to be sad. Oh no, that's upsetting. I'm having a feeling that my book is going to be sad too. I have a feeling that They Went Left is going to tear me apart. There's been some good news developed in terms of finding the brother, but I still don't know whether or not we're actually going to find him by the end of this, and it's very scary. But so what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So anyway, I have a video that should be coming out sometime. Did I say tomorrow? I meant Monday. I'll be finishing it up tomorrow and editing it tomorrow, but then Monday I'm going to try to get it out. And then I think that's going to be the only other video. That's going to be the only video for this. Just got back. Are you doing any more sprints? I am not. We just finished a 15-minute sprint, so we're getting close to basically the end of sprint. So I just figured we would take a little bit of time to hang out with everybody and just kind of like wrap it up because it's going. I mean, technically this is a little shorter than normal because I started late, but it is getting to be midnight here in my time zone. So I'm tired. It is way past my bedtime, but I will be doing more sprints, every Saturday, or at least Saturday or Sunday, depending on like what goes on. But yeah, so video coming out Monday, hopefully, and I think that might be the only one for this week. Oh, tomorrow, if you guys, Castle Library, you guys might have saw her in the chat a while back. She is hosting sprints tomorrow from 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for a few hours. Like sometimes it's 3-4 hours, something like that. So if you're not following her, you definitely should. She's absolutely awesome. I adore her. She's one of my coolest friends I think I've ever met through YouTube. She hosts sprints every Sunday, and it's a good time. It's always a good time. Definitely go check her out if you would like to do more sprints tomorrow. I'm going to keep like plugging her every weekend just because, like, seriously, her sprints are what get me through the rest of the weekend. I think she's so absolutely funny, and a lot, like, if you guys think I'm goofy, like, you're gonna like Princess because she's pretty freaking awesome if you haven't already figured that out, like if you haven't followed her and like all that stuff by now. Also, she is a BIPOC creator. I'm gonna always support my BIPOC creators. If you know of any other ones that I might not know, that you might not know that I know, then let me know who they are, because I'm gonna always want to support my BIPOC creators. I love them. They're great. They're super valuable in the bookish community, and I definitely think they deserve more love. So if you know of any others that host reading sprints on a regular basis, let me know, because I would like to check them out, and y'all should check them out too if you know of them. So what else can I say? What else do I need to tell you before I leave you for this week? I don't think anything. Yeah, I don't think that anything else is going on. What is with that engine or something? I freaking hate that. I hate those like low rumbly engines that just seem to go on forever. You're welcome, Thrifty. Thank you for joining today. Glad you could make it. I'm glad everybody could make it today that was able to do sprints. I mean, if you're new here and you don't know, ooh, good question, Mia. How's the tattoo? It's healing pretty okay. It's almost completely done healing. It's, yeah, like really, there's like a couple of spots here where it's still scabbing, like basically toward the middle, which is like where most of the color is. So it's actually healing fairly well. You guys can kind of see it a lot better now. I still love it. It's still one of my favorite things I've ever gotten. And I cannot wait to get more. I actually, the day that I got this one, I scheduled for my birthday this summer to get 2 more. And I'm so excited. Do you guys want to know what it is? Because they are ones I have been wanting forever. They are probably going to be my most expensive tattoos. But I'm so excited because they're just like ones I've wanted forever. Like I don't know, like I'm just so excited for them. And like it's gonna be so worth it to pay the money for them, truthfully. But do you guys want to know what they are? Or should I hold off on that until when I get them in July? Because I'm not going to be able to get them until July, because my birthday is July 8th, and I scheduled it for that day. But it is possible that it might be earlier or later than that. It depends on like what exactly goes on around my birthday, because sometimes Robert plans stuff for my birthday, whether it's the day of or a couple of years ago we went on a trip a few days before my birthday. So I don't know what if he has anything planned at this point, but like it's entirely possible that, you know, I may have to reschedule that, which is fine. But for my birthday, what I'm doing for myself is getting me a couple tattoos. I'm just gonna tell you what they are. So any of you guys might know, I am a huge fan of, hold on, let me see if I can move the camera a little bit to show you this picture a little bit better. The Loki series. I'm a huge fan of Loki in general. I'm a huge Tom Hiddleston fan. I adore him with all my heart and soul. But no, Loki is definitely like, he's actually one of my favorite characters of all time when it comes to villains. I love the story of Loki from the Marvel series, and especially with the way that they have done things with the Loki TV show that came out in June of 2021. I really love the series. I think there were definitely some issues with it in terms of like the overall storyline, and some choices I think that should have been different, but it's not up to me. It's the writers. Everybody has their own kind of like things with it, but I really like the show regardless. I thought it was a really good story. Anyway, so the tattoos are Loki inspired. Loki more so from the Avengers area, which is kind of where I first really fell in love with the character, and then also fell in love with the mythology of the original story of Loki as in the Norse god, and researching into him and being very, very invested in Norse mythology. Because basically the character made me want to go back and learn about the history of the actual god Loki that was looked at. I know he's a favorite. He's one of my. Tom Hiddleston will forever have my heart, soul, and everything there. Like, I will hate the day that something negative comes out about this man. Like, I will never trust another celebrity man again if something ever comes out about this man, because he's one of the good ones. Let him stay one of the good ones. I seriously hope nothing bad has happened. Like, he's got nothing done, like, seriously, like, damaging. But anyway, the tattoos, basically, Loki, a Halloween. Oh, well, now we can officially say that there are Lady Lokis if you've watched the show. It's not like a massive spoiler, but because it's kind of been around for a bit, you kind of like, you kind of know. But anyway, so the tattoos. The tattoos, basically what they are the blades that Loki has, specifically in like the early era of the character Loki. So we're not talking the huge staff that he has in the first movie. We're not talking about what's in Thor: The Dark World. We're talking about more specifically the daggers he has in the Avengers. Because the Avengers was, it's more specifically to the ones that he has in the Loki TV show, which are supposed to be reminiscent of the ones he has in the Avengers. But basically, they're the ones that kind of remind me of the time I came to really love not just Loki as a character, but then also Marvel. Because when the Avengers came out, I had already watched like a couple of the Marvel movies, but the Avengers was the one where I think for a lot of people, it was a big jumping off point for the love of the Marvel fandom. Now, specifically for Loki, the reason I picked these daggers, which are the ones that are from the TV show, but are supposed to be very reminiscent of the Avengers daggers, it's because I think that it's where everything really starts for a lot of reasons. I mean, for one, if you've watched anything with the Loki TV show, and like anything like with Endgame and like, that this is like the spot where shit like goes south with Marvel. Like, it's one of the catalysts of the multiverse splitting. So it has that significance for me of like a really prominent and very interesting storyline being one of my favorite storylines. It's reminiscent of my favorite character. It's reminiscent of my favorite actor. It's reminiscent of my love also for the history of the character. Like, it's a very multi-layered, meaning-based tattoo for me. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that every single tattoo I have has more than one meaning associated with it because they're very personal. They're very personal tattoos for me, either because they're part of, fandoms I love. Like, I've got Lord of the Rings, I've got, Harry Potter. This one doesn't hold up as well anymore. I still want to keep it. I still think it is a part of me, and it is still a part of my journey. But I do recognize a lot of the issues surrounding around HP. But then I have a Doctor Who one. I actually have a tattoo that is in ancient hieroglyphics that's supposed to be a mummy reference for those of you that love the Mummy movies. I have this one, which is one I have with my mother. It's for my witchy practice, because this has been something I've, ever since I was a child, really resonated with, and it basically helps to establish my particular path. And it's my mother and I have it together because we are both very spiritual in a lot of ways. I have a tattoo back here. I don't know how well you can see it. I hope you can see it. I'm pretty sure you can. That one is one I have with my mother and my sister, because my sister and I are like the polar opposites, the sun and the moon. My mom is kind of the one that brings us together, for various reasons. She's basically the both of them. My sister and I are the separate pieces kind of thing. So like, we all got that. And then my sister and I have our grandfather's signature tattooed on us. So like every single tattoo, and then this one too, like this one I just got last weekend, is a tattoo with one of my best friends since childhood, who is definitely like the other half of my soul in a lot of ways. So every tattoo I've ever had and will ever get is steeped in various different things of meaning for me. They are ones that I will always have a story with of some kind. And that is a personal choice for me. I could never do a random tattoo like some people can. And if you do that, that is awesome. I love that you can do that. I can't, because when I put something on my body, when I do something to my body, like having a tattoo put on it, it has to have a very specific purpose. And the daggers are, for one, not just a reminiscent of, like I said, the TV show and the character and the history behind it, but it's also it's a reminder for me to fight, because basically the way that it's going to be is that you're going to have the hilt of the dagger down here, or like the handle part here, and then the blades are going to be pointing up toward my wrists. So that like when I go to like, if I do something like this, like basically if I have my arms up to like guard myself or something, it's going to look like I have my daggers at the ready, because I want it to be a reminder for me to continue to fight, continue to battle, because I'm going to constantly come across some form of battle within myself, with other people, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of different levels of meaning in it for me, but it all basically comes back to the fact that it is a tattoo that has a lot of things about it that are very special to me. And I would love to have people ask me about it, because then it brings up a story and it really gets you to see a very, very in-depth look at me as a person. Like I love when people ask about my tattoos, because to me, they are a map of my life. They are a map of me, the things I'm interested in, the things that I find joy in, the things that, you know, they basically just, they lay out a map for me. So that's what I'm going to be getting. Sorry, that was very long-winded. If you can't tell, you know, maybe I should just get like a tattoo on my forehead that says I talk a lot, be prepared. Because like most of you don't get that warning right off the bat when you come into my lives or you come hang out with me. Like, you don't always know that you're going to sit through somebody just ranting and raving and talking for 20 minutes about a tattoo. So there's that. But yeah, those are my birthday tattoos. They're going to probably be the most expensive. However, the guy that's done like several of my tattoos by this point, he's done, let's see, 2, 3, he's done 4 of the tattoos I have on my body. So like half of them, the ones I have on my body now, he's done, and he has done amazing work. I love what he does. He does a very good job. He's very respectful of my wishes, and, you know, he's also just really fun to like go get a tattoo from. He's just such a cool guy. So he is going to do these ones too. And I think they might be like expensive, but he never like charges more than what the time is. And he's pretty quick at what he does. Like, he's quick and he's good, and he does a very good job. So it's probably not going to be nearly as expensive as I think it's going to be. But I also tip the guy a lot, because he's a really good guy. Like, he does good work. He's very comforting. Like, when you go to get a tattoo, especially for like newer people or people who haven't had a tattoo in a while, or like when I was getting this done, my friend who was getting it done with me, it was her first tattoo by this guy, and so she was nervous about it, and he just made it super chill. It made it easy for her to have the tattoo done. So I'm very excited for this one, because like it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting this for, I want to say, a couple years, something like that. Like, the idea for it for a couple of years, but finally settling on like a design for probably the last 9 months. Yeah, I think 9 months. Anyway, so that's my next one, but this one's healing up pretty well. Thank you for asking. She's still a little dry in some parts, but that's because like there's a lot of the scabbing, basically, like I said, toward the middle, like right in here. But otherwise, she's doing good. She's doing good. So I apparently just decided to talk for 20 minutes about my tattoos, but that's whatever. Anyway, so that's gonna be it for me tonight. I'm going to go to bed. I'm gonna go get in my pajamas and go snuggle in bed with my puppy, and I'm gonna go sleep because I'm tired. Oh, excuse me. Sorry to make you yawn there, but hope you guys had a good night with me tonight. Thank you all for joining me today. Don't forget to go check out Princess's Sprints tomorrow. Again, it's going to be around 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Please figure out whatever time zone you're in with that. I don't know all of them. But I should be there. And just come hang out with me and some other people with Princess, and come do some more reading, because we're going to be doing a lot of reading. We're going to probably be doing a lot of talking too. So, all right, I will see all of you guys next weekend. I'm going to say let's do another evening one, just because I think that's going to be the easiest for me to do with, like, sometimes I have plans going on during the day. So, all right. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend and a wonderful week next week. I will see you all next Saturday. Bye.